Roosevelt University. I want to welcome you to the Soutside Alumni Chapter Kickoff. Tell you a little bit about how we got to this point. Specifically with this chapter, we've had some great planning committees. I have a wonderful group of members and leaders that we've worked to bring alumni back together in the Southside area, since we have a high concentration of alumni here. So we'll be talking a little bit more about our chapter development kind of throughout our program, but I just wanted to thank my planning committee, Julius Rhodes and Janice Collier, my representatives. They did a lot of work, and there was a lot of great enthusiasm about getting together as a chapter in this area. So I am so pleased to have you here. I hope you're enjoying your evening, and we're going to have a little bit of a program now, so hopefully those that are standing won't be too uncomfortable. We'll kind of move it along. But I wanted to take a moment now to introduce Patrick Woods. Patrick Woods is the Vice President of Institutional Advancement for Roosevelt University, excuse me.
Thank you, Jenna, and thanks to all of you for coming tonight. I can't tell you how exciting it is to see a crowd of this size. Again, with the enthusiasm, we're kicking off a lot of chapters. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but this is the largest gathering so far of all of our chapters. So congratulations to the Southside. You're the winner so far, but you know, we're not done. I'll tell you more about that later. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. This is a new time for us. We are reinvigorating our chapters, and this is the evening. But before we get into talking about that, I would like to start it off by saying that it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the president of our university. Most of you have had a chance to say hello to him tonight. Many of you, I think, shook his hand as you were walking across the stage at one point or another. Dr. Middleton came here in 2002. The institution has absolutely transformed since he came. There are times that I ask him, how did he get this going? Because he kind of started, he had people who were willing, but he sort of started by himself. And to see where we are today versus where we were then is just absolutely amazing. He's going to tell you more about that. The way I got here was that he and I have been friends for literally decades. We worked together at the University of Colorado a very long time ago. And I have been living in California, and he said, you need to come out here and work with me in this great institution. So after we spent about 2 years going back and forth on that, here I am. I'm glad to be at Roosevelt. I'm glad to be in Chicago. So without further ado, let me make sure that you all give a warm round of applause to our president, Dr. Charles Phillips.
Thank you, Patrick. You know, I love this. I promise I won't sing, but I don't promise anything else, all right? For those of you who are in the back and who would like to come and sit down, I see 3 chairs here and 1 over there. You know, just come on down. There's 1 right here. This is going to be about 20 minutes, and so, or you can sit back there, and if you get, you know, a little stiff, you can start doing jumping jacks. That's okay. It won't distress me, and the people up here won't see you doing it, so they won't think you're strange. Okay. It's great to see all of you. Isn't this a beautiful space? I mean, this is really wonderful. Yeah. It's almost as good, but not quite as good as the Auditorium Theater. Right? So, had to get that in there. Okay. Let's see now. I'm supposed to do something with this, and let's see which button do I push to make it go forward. Thank you. Okay, here we are. Now you will all find out that I am totally technologically challenged. All right, and normally, I want to introduce somebody now. Normally, when I get into total trouble at the office, I say, help, and my chief of staff, who I love and who's here this evening, Denise Bransford, please stand up and they can see so people can see you. Truth be told, Denise really runs the university. I'm just the face, all right? So, Denise, pray for me. All right, ta-ta. Oh, good, it worked. In the last 12 months, we've been doing a lot of things, as Patrick said, over the last few years, building on amazing things that happened way before that. So it's all part of a continuation, but it's kind of accelerated a lot recently. And we want to just bring you up to date in the last 12 months. In the last 12 months, we have hired 26 new full-time faculty. Full-time faculty make a big difference, and that goes with 34 the year before, so 60 new full-time faculty in the last 2 years. That's 25% of the faculty, and over half the faculty have been hired since I've been president. Many, many more than ever before. That's good. Secondly, we had this fall the second largest number of full-time freshmen in the university's history, 520, excuse me. Last year was the largest number, 524. So it wasn't, but you know, I don't know why we didn't get 25 and beat it, but we did. It's okay. And then, maybe most interestingly, we started building this new building, and you all know about that because you've seen it. You see the pictures around here, and I'm going to spend a little time telling you about that in just a little bit. These numbers here show how many credit hours the students are taking. Because they're mostly full-time students. That started a couple of years ago. And if you add up all the 15 and 12s and 11s and 9s and whatever it is that these new students are taking, you can see in the last couple of years we've really had a significant growth in the number of classes and the number of students, but the average class size is still around 20, depending upon the discipline, a little higher or a little lower, but 20 for the university as a whole. That's a good thing. Lots of attention in there. We started housing more students downtown when I became president in the old, how many of you know the Herman Crown Center? Remember the Herman Crown Center? It is no more. It is gone. So R.I.P. Herman Crown Center, all right? Got something better on top of it though, where it used to be. At any rate, when I got here, there were 250 people living in there, Roosevelt students. Now this fall we have 919 living there, and we've had to rent additional space for another 130 in private dwellings in the Loop because we don't have enough space for them. The building that we're going to talk about, if it were there and it were open, would be full already. So we're building in a redundancy. So we're not building a second one though, so stop that rumor right here. We're not going to do that, or at least in the short run. You can see also that this is, despite the fact that we have record graduation rates, we've had 7 years in a row of graduating 2,000 or more students a year. So really very good. Lots of Roosevelt degrees out there, like all of you, to join all of you and do great Rooseveltian things. I would give you the kind of numbers. In the first 59 years of the university, we graduated 65,000. In the last 6 years of the university, we graduated 15,000. It's accelerated that much. You do the math when you get home, and if you're a historian like I am and you can't do the math, have a glass of wine and don't worry about it. Okay. So, the average age of graduate students, about the same as it always has been, but look at the average age of undergraduates. Our undergraduates are a lot of 18-year-olds, a lot of 19-year-olds, bringing the average age down over large numbers of people, almost 2.5 years. You can tell younger people they have two characteristics. One, they have no wrinkles, all right? And two, they're usually so skinny, you wonder if they can have all their organs yet, because there's not enough room in there for them, you know. So, but that's who our students are these days. Their average ages come down, particularly for undergraduates. Our challenge is that you all know how terrific Roosevelt is. But it's not always been clear in Chicago and elsewhere how terrific it is. If you didn't really pay attention, you couldn't always find out. When we started looking around trying to figure out how to get this news out of these amazing things that were going on, we discovered that we had a cluttered message. I said, how many ways are we representing ourselves in the public? How many different creative ways do we say Roosevelt? Here's a bunch of things that we did. Each of them totally, completely terrific. But how do you know they're in the same place if you're not paying real close attention? If you're a marketer, you know it was a marketing disaster. We had no clear image, and therefore it was hard for people to find out about us and to find us easily. So they said, we're going to do something new, and the new thing is we're going to have a new logo, which we unveiled this spring. And of course, there it is. And every one of you, if you haven't, I see a lot of you are already wearing them, but if you don't have one, come get your lapel, you know the big M for Michigan, forget that, all right? This is R. It stands for Roosevelt. You walk down the street, people will say, what's that? And you can say, well, let me tell you about my alma mater, all right? It's Roosevelt University, okay? The way you read this, by the way, is it's like a ribbon. It starts on the lower left, it goes up and folds back over and comes back around and folds back over and goes down. Like a ribbon would be that you get stronger when you're working together. It gets stronger when you're in collaboration, so that it gets a bolder color. And as you go further and further along, the green intensifies, and that's the message that you have to give. Nobody in the country in higher education uses this font. It's an exclusively Roosevelt font. Somebody will pick up on it sooner or later. We don't own it, but we came into the marketplace, we grabbed it, and we'll see how long it takes for other people to imitate us, okay? But right now, it's only us. Now, obviously, that looks a little stiff, kind of like, you know, great academic thing, but there's other ways to represent the university. Another way is to, remember the torch? All right, right? How many universities in the United States now have a torch? Roosevelt got it, you know, 65 years ago. Nobody had torches. How many universities now have torches? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. So we made a 21st century version, and we're going to put it only on our official documents. So it's a very special thing going forward, diplomas and other things. And unlike the old torch, which kind of shined towards you, this one shines away from you, saying, come with us, we're going great places. All right, you can see that in there. 1945, of course, is the year that we were born. Now, you know, the R and all that, the motto, the torch, all that, that's great for official stuff. But what about athletics? You know, how many of you remember Roosevelt teams in the past when you were here? All right, okay, we used to have men's athletics, let me make that clear. We had old